Handheld gaming has been a part of my life for about as long as handheld gaming has existed. Hi, I'm Paul with Indie Pop Productions, pop culture from an independent point of view. And today, we're going to open up my brand new PlayStation Portable and discuss my relationship with handheld gaming. Now, I've been a gamer since the Atari 2600, meaning I have experienced pretty much the entire history of the gaming industry, with the exception of Pong and some of its contemporaries. Now, when I say I'm a gamer, I don't actually mean I'm particularly good at video games, but I've been playing them pretty much my entire life, and I am passionate about the art form and the industry. My first foray into handheld gaming, like most people in my generation, was the Game Boy. I played that thing probably more than I played my original Nintendo Entertainment System. Tetris and Castlevania dominated my time for a very, very big part of my childhood. I skipped the Game Boy Color and moved right on to the Game Boy Advance when it came out and had a great time with that one as well. But then, once PlayStation came around, I kind of lost my taste for Sega and Nintendo and was obsessed with the graphics and the type of games that the PlayStation was putting out. So when the PlayStation put out the PSP, the PlayStation Portable, I was hooked. To this day, that remains my favorite gaming handheld of all time, with some of my all-time favorite gaming experiences, especially Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core, as well as many others. Several years later, PlayStation tried to follow up the success of the PlayStation Portable, the PSP, with their PlayStation Vita. Those of us that had a Vita loved it. It was critically acclaimed and was seemingly far ahead of its time. But for most people, it just didn't click and didn't have the lifespan that the PSP or any of Nintendo's Game Boys or DS's or anything else seemed to have. And after that generation, PlayStation said they were done with portables. But in business, there's nothing like the success of other companies to make you second guess your decisions and start rethinking your attitude about certain platforms. Now, over the last few years, the gaming handheld industry has completely exploded. Nintendo led the way with their Nintendo Switch. The Steam Deck has just been an insanely powerful and popular device, and everyone else just seems to be adding on to that. Over the last few years, my handheld gaming experiences have looked like this. For anything streaming related, I have my Razor's Edge. This is really nothing more than a little Android tablet with a glorified Razer Kishi for the controller stuck on the ends. But it's really fun for being able to stream Xbox Game Pass, Steam games off of my computer, and even PlayStation games directly from my PlayStation 5. Don't use this one too much. The idea is better than the execution, and much better devices that do more or less the same thing have come out since this one did. Then, of course, I have my Nintendo Switch, my red Mario Edition Nintendo Switch, stuck inside a Nitro deck to give it a little more of a Steam Deck, solid, ergonomic feel. Love this one. This has probably played more than any of my other handhelds over the last several years. Then, for everything else, there's my Asus ROG Ally. This is a handheld PC, so it can play pretty much anything. It can do the streaming that the Razor's Edge does, but it could also download games like a Steam Deck, but it is in Windows, so not only can I do Steam games, I can also do anything from the Epic Store, I can do anything from the Xbox Game Pass Store, which is the primary reason I got this, so I could actually download and natively play Xbox Game Pass games on a handheld, powerful little handheld like this. Love this one. Still don't use it quite as much as I do my Nintendo Switch, but this one gets a lot of playtime, and I have a great time with this one. Now, apparently, a little more than a year ago, PlayStation got a little jealous and started rethinking not making handhelds. But they made a handheld that confused everyone a little bit. No one was quite sure where it fit. It isn't a handheld that can natively play any games. It is a handheld that can stream, much like my Razor's Edge, which my Razor's Edge can already connect to my PlayStation and do, because all this one could do, unlike Xbox Game Pass, which connects directly to the library over the cloud, whether you have an Xbox connected to it or not, this just connected directly to your PlayStation 5. So anything that's on your PlayStation 5, you could sit in your bed or across the house and play it on your PlayStation Portal. But that was about it. I still honestly got a little excited about it when it came out, tried to buy it, but as all PlayStation things, when it first came out, it was impossible to get your hands on between people that were just excited to get it and scalpers, as always. And eventually I just kind of forgot. And much of the industry forgot, most of the gamers forgot, because they already had devices that could do everything this could do, at least as well. But then a little over a month ago, PlayStation, having actually supported this thing very well considering that it didn't sell tons and tons of copies, especially compared to the PSP or even the PS Vita, they still kept supporting it. They still kept putting software updates out for it, and they shocked everyone a little more than a month ago, coming out with a software update that allowed you to not only connect to your PlayStation 5, but through this device, something that you cannot do on an Android device or an iPhone, an iOS device, is it will let you connect directly to the cloud using your PlayStation Plus membership. If you have the highest level, PlayStation Plus Premium, you can stream those games. Now you can stream those games on your PC. You can stream those games on your PlayStation 5 itself. But now, even without connecting directly to your PlayStation 5, you can just log into your account if you have that PlayStation Premium access and connect to those games without being in access or even having a PlayStation 5. That made me very fascinated, made me want to check it out. I do love the form factor. The screen on this thing, from everything I've seen, is absolutely beautiful. And unlike most of the games out there, which kind of have one solid feel, it does feel more like a PlayStation, because it's pretty much they just took a DualShock controller, split it in half, and stuck it on the edge of the screen. So instead of holding it traditionally like you would hold one of these, you actually grip it the way you would a DualShock. So I am very curious to see what this feels like. We're gonna go ahead and open this baby up and see what it's like. So, scissors. Cardboard to begin with, of course. There we go, the actual meat of it. PlayStation does generally do a very good job of boxing their devices. Open this up. The system itself wrapped. Let's see what else it comes with first. Not much. There's nothing in here but cardboard and the instructions. So I guess I'll have to use one of my own cords that I have many of to charge this thing up, because there's nothing in this box except the PlayStation Portal itself. That kind of surprises me a little bit, to be honest. Take this off. Nice. Always like taking the sticker off. Don't have a choice on that one. If you like leaving the stickers on, that covers the entire screen. Very pretty screen. I do actually like the way this feels, but I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to step away for now. I'm going to charge this up, I'm going to set it up, and then I'm going to spend a little bit of time with it, and I'll come back and I'll finish the video with my thoughts. Thanks guys, I'll see you soon. Okay, now I've had the Portal in my hands for about a week and a half now. When I originally opened up the box and I started the video, I thought I was going to play with it for maybe a couple days, finish the video, and go on. But then once I started playing with it, I said, you know what, I really want to take my time with it. I want to get used to it. I want to see what it's really like to play with. My really honest thoughts about what it's like playing the Portal. So I went ahead, I did this is supposed to be my first video. I went ahead, I did the Power Rangers video, come back to this a week later. So I've had this in my hands for a while now. I do have some thoughts, so we're going to go into that now. First thing, I said when I opened the box, I was really excited about this because I thought this had a big, beautiful screen. And I stand by that. I do stand by this has a big, beautiful screen, even though I have gone online. I've seen other videos where people are complaining that the screen isn't bright enough, that the screen is not, it's not OLED. It's an LED, regular LED screen. It's not an OLED screen. They compare it to the OLED Switch model. They compare it to the OLED Steam Deck. That's really not a fair comparison. This is a budget handheld made specifically for streaming exclusively PlayStation games. The Steam Deck and the Switch, not so much. Those are more handheld devices. They're self-contained, and they cost more. This is $199. The OLED Switch is $350, so a little less than double the price. The lowest priced OLED Steam Deck is $600, or $550, excuse me, $550. So almost 3 times the price. So they're trying to keep the price down. They're trying to keep it in that range that makes this a good option. I completely understand the choice. I still think this is an attractive screen. It's bigger than the screen you get on most handheld devices, especially within this price range. And since it is kind of a one-trick pony, arguably a two-trick pony now, that it's got not just streaming from your PS5, but streaming from the cloud. Still, if you're going to make me pay another $100 at least just to put that OLED screen on there, I'm going to need it to do a few more things. I'm going to need it to do more than just stream games. So no, that to me, that is a sweet point price. That's the price they really wanted to be at. And that makes this, worth it for the LED screen. And it is a nice LED screen. It is very pretty. It is bright. No problem playing it. In fact, I had to dim it a little in bed because it was too bright. Then the other thing I wanted to talk about, I mentioned the ergonomics, that I was curious, since I'm used to holding devices that are kind of one solid piece, not so much just basically splitting a dual shock and put it on the sides. And that really is what they did. I mean, it is, look at the size. Turns out I loved it. Ergonomically, this thing felt great in my hands. It felt like playing a PlayStation game. I didn't have to learn where the buttons are. I've been using the DualSense for, I don't know what, it came out 4 years ago. So I've been using the DualSense for 4 years. I've been using PlayStation controllers for 25 years, maybe a little more than that. And things haven't changed all that much as far as layout over the years. So you can just pick this up, put it in your hands, and you know what you're doing. It feels like you're playing a PlayStation game. So I do love this. Now, it does feel sturdy. It does make me worry a little because this isn't the one piece. If you drop this too hard, is it going to break? Is it going to be as sturdy as some of your other devices? I don't know. Maybe it will. That it doesn't feel weak, but I can imagine this being much easier to break than a one piece. But again, this is a $200 device. If you break it, that stinks, but it's not the most expensive investment you have in gaming if you're a real gamer. So it's not that big of a deal, and it's a good trade-off for the fact that it feels great to play. Now, as far as the games, how it is the actual experience of streaming these games to the Portal, what is that like? So there's two parts of that. Obviously, the first part is its original purpose, and that is streaming directly from your PlayStation 5 to this device. And not surprisingly to me, because I know how my setup is in my house, it was the absolute worst streaming experience I've ever had. So if they hadn't added the second piece of this, definitely not worth the price for me. Now, I was kind of went into it knowing that that was a possibility. And it's one of the reasons I didn't, get it a little earlier, because to make this work great, yes, you have to have strong Wi-Fi, which I do. I have very strong Wi-Fi, so no problem there. But it's not just how strong the Wi-Fi is on the Portal, it's how strong the Wi-Fi is, or the internet is, for your PS5. And so what they really suggest is keeping it as close as possible to your router. My router being in my living room, and if possible, even wiring it through an Ethernet connection. Now, my Portal, my Wi-Fi Portal is on a wall, covered nicely, looks pretty. You don't realize it's there. My TV is a little bit away from that. I'm not wiring the two, and honestly, I'm not moving my PlayStation over there even just to get that closer Wi-Fi connection, because I prefer gaming in here on my monitor, my gaming monitor, versus gaming in the living room on the big screen. I'll game over there on the big screen every once in a while, but for the most part, I like the closer connection being on my gaming computer. All my devices are in here. So I prefer this. I'm not changing how I play games just so a peripheral that I purchased can work a little better. Now, if you are fine with doing all that, then great, worth it for that. Not worth it for that for me. But on the flip side of that is, once I got to setting up and playing the game streaming from PlayStation Plus Premium, that was one of the best game streaming experiences I've ever had. I couldn't believe the night and day change there. I don't know if it was just because of how it's set up that it works natively with this device. They've already done all the fine tuning and tweaking. You don't have to download anything else. It's just all there. Once you get signed in, the games are there. It takes just a few seconds to connect. I've definitely taken a lot longer than that to connect to games on Game Pass using some of my other streaming devices. So definitely a great experience. There's only about 100 games on there. I don't remember, give or take, 100 games on there right now, which you say 100 games, that's actually quite a bit of games. But Xbox Game Pass obviously has tons more. I think they have over 300 games, if I remember correctly. And they put their games on there day one. So, like, the most recent big hit that came out was Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Big AAA game. Everybody excited about it. Talking about, potentially being Game of the Year. You could play that on Game Pass with no extra amount of money, extra payment, the day it came out. I was shocked on here. I didn't expect any day one games, but I was surprised on here how few of the games were even PlayStation 5 games. They may be PlayStation 5 versions of PlayStation 4 games. Yeah, some of the more recent PlayStation exclusive games on here were Spider-Man Miles Morales, which was available both on PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 at the same time. And then, but is a great game if you haven't played it yet. And Ratchet and Clank Rifts Apart, which was the first game, in my opinion, that really took advantage of the extra processing power that the PS5 has. All those games, all the Ratchet and Clank games are fun, but that one was really great. So again, if you haven't played it, it's several years old, it's definitely worth it. And some of the games on there are really great. I got pulled into Final Fantasy Crisis Core. I mentioned in the last video that, when I played my PSP, that's my big memory. My thing I love the most is playing Final Fantasy Crisis Core on my PSP. I got so excited to see it on the PlayStation Portal available to stream. I was like, you know what, I haven't started it yet. This would be a great way to do it. But a few other games too. But decided to dive into that, and it brought up another problem with the way we use our portable devices today for gaming. For years, we've wanted these games, the gaming experience, to be the same on the computer or on our console or on our streaming device or on our handheld. And we're finally there, or at least we're getting there. It's not that big of a barrier. It's not that different anymore. Having a blast playing these games. But when you play Final Fantasy Crisis Core on your PSP, you will see that it's made for the little screen. So everything is written, all the management, all the menus you have to go through are there for your eyes to be seeing. They're there for you to see on an intentionally small screen. Now, this is not a problem that's exclusive to the PlayStation Portal. You're going to have the same problem on the Steam Deck. You're going to have the same problem on, like my Asus ROG Ally, any gaming PC, any streaming device. These are games that are meant to be seen on, at the very least, a gaming monitor, which this one's, I think, 32 inches, or in the living room on my 65-inch. It's meant for you to see big, so they don't bother making the words or the menus terribly large, because you're not going to look at it on a 6, 7, 8-inch screen. You're going to look at it on a big screen. So especially for my old eyes, when I start looking at these menus on here, I didn't get very far in Final Fantasy because I could not do the management. I couldn't read everything that I needed to read, especially in the middle of a fight. I'm actually gonna have to go back and play the game going forward on the PS5 itself, because I was loving it and I do want to play it more, but I got a little less than 10% into the game, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can't do this. I'm getting my butt kicked because I can't even tell what I'm doing. I had to actually go get reading glasses specifically for this device because I couldn't make anything out. So I played some more simpler games, a few other games. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot was on there, which is one I've been wanting to play. Went back and played a little bit of Maneater, and kind of hopped around from other games to see how it felt. But those are some of the ones that I had fun playing. So good experience, but just be aware. So if you're an older guy like me, eyes aren't what they were, 20 years ago when you were playing on that PSP, then be aware that you're going to be looking at something on a tiny screen that was meant to be seen on a big screen. So great experience. Limitations are the limitations that are not specific to this device. Limitations are limitations that are just part of what comes from playing big screen games on a small screen. No sacrifices is part of the quality, but you're sacrificing size. The big question there, is it worth the $200? Should you buy it for $200? For me, yes. I knew what I was primarily getting it for. I knew the limitations. I knew that, I was going to be going in with the game streaming being still in a beta. So I do feel that once they get out of beta, they work the kinks out, and there didn't feel to be that many kinks to me. But once they work out the kinks and they say, okay, we're coming out of beta, I'm sure there will be more games. I don't know that PlayStation's ever going to do the day one thing that Xbox does, because PlayStation games sell a lot and they're going to be giving up a lot of money if they do that. But hey, who knows? Who knows what they're going to do? But I'm sure they'll have more games. They'll have better games once they work through this and they get more people on these devices to do this. So for me, yes, worth it. I knew what I was getting into. I wasn't surprised. I wasn't let down. Glad I got it. For you, that depends. If you're wanting it for its original purpose of streaming your PS5, be aware that you're going to have to rearrange your house if it's not already set up that way, just so you can get this. If you are getting into it for the same reason I am, and you've already got all the other toys and you just want to add this one more toy to your collection, you don't want to go through the process of setting up another app and tweaking it and everything on either your handheld PC or on your streaming device, then I get it. Then this might be the right way for you to go. Now, if you already own a handheld PC, the Ally or the Legion Go or something along those lines, then maybe this isn't for you, because it can do that streaming as well. It can download games directly to it from some of the other services, but it can also stream, whereas an Android device or an iOS device cannot. So good for that. Now, if you're only going to get one streaming device, and you're just wanting the best possible games, Xbox Game Pass still is better than PlayStation Plus Premium, in my opinion, just for those day one exclusives. Now, that may change. Xbox catalog, you might not think is as good as the PlayStation catalog. PlayStation has put out some bangers over the years, and even if you're getting them 6 months, a year and a half later, it might still be worth it to you, but you're not getting them at all yet. Whereas on some of the other streaming devices, you could download the Xbox app and you can go onto your Game Pass subscription, and again, like I said, you can play all those Xbox exclusives, including Indiana Jones day one. Great game. Are you a PlayStation exclusive lover? Then this is probably going to grow into that. And in the early days, you're going to have a limited selection, but still a lot of fun on this device. So again, just like last time, guys, please let me know what you think of this. I'm still feeling this out, still winging it, trying to figure out how this is going to move forward. So let me know what worked, what didn't work, what didn't work. Did you like the Power Rangers episode more than the PlayStation Portal episode? Because they do kind of have a little different feel, because when I'm talking about comic books, I could tell more of a story, whereas it's more feelings and how this worked when it's something technology related. I do have the next one set up already. Hopefully that'll be coming out relatively soon. It's going to be another comic book nostalgia type episode. Comic books are my love language, so you're going to get a lot of that from me. So this next one is going to be similar to the Power Rangers, but this time Yo Joe. Looking forward to that one. But then after that, I don't exactly have things planned. I've got some ideas, but I would love your opinions on what you think would work, what you'd like to see going forward. And if you want to follow me on the journey, you could like, subscribe, comment, all those fun things. But otherwise, hopefully, I'll see you soon.